friends, when Manoj ji and his colleague came to me to invite me to be here, I happily said yes. And he said that I have to speak. And on my right is my old friend, Dr. H.K. Kaul. I told his old library to give me books on Asian literature. And it is quite frightening to come and speak on Asian literature. But I must say that I came a bit early, and I had the pleasure of listening to the panelists who were here before me, including I was seeing Vandana ji after ages. I am getting empowered now. It's a tough job. When you think of Asian literature, South Asia, I understand, which is India, now divided into four. But when you talk about the East, China, Japan, Korea, when you talk about the Southeast Asia, most of the countries I have visited, but more difficult is West Asia, because my knowledge is limited. But what I thought which is important is the concept of interplay of ideas that literature gives. Rigveda talks about that old philosophy, Om Bhadra Kartavo Yantu Vishuddha, that noble thoughts come to us from every side. And what are these thoughts which have come? You have India had developed a great tradition of Shruti, which was revelations to people. We just heard about Ramayana and the Mahabharata and their relevance till present day. Those were Shruti. Then what is interesting is how it was carried forward. And that was our Guru Shishya Parampara. It was not initially recorded. The Guru told the Shishya, Shishya became a Guru and he told his Shishya. And this is something unique of literature. You are not only in a pre-internet age, or computer age, or typewriting age, but I don't know whether at that time we had a proper script, 5,000 years or 3,500 years, but later it was in Sanskrit. Sanskrit was, and that side Tamil, in the south. So it was recorded ultimately. First on Tamil Pantras. Printing came much later. Much later. And I don't know that printing really helped this tradition, it didn't. When a Guru told his Shishya about Rigveda or something, it was a dialogic process. It was a discussion. So what he retained, in that process of dialogue, things changed. But now things don't change. It is written, fixed. So somebody says that my scripture says to treat women in this way or to treat men in this way. And he says, no, this is, you can't violate it. So we have to challenge that. Guru Shishya Parampara was a system. And it was that rigidity that came in this great tradition that our rishis made, that you know, the way Varnashram Dharma was interpreted, which led to untouchability, which led to Jati system, which said women should not be taught, which said backwards should not be taught. There were exceptions. So this is something which we got it, because literature was not studied by society. We are living in a much happier, healthier era. And if DELNET had organized this conference of Festival of Asian Literature 200 or 500 years ago, there wouldn't have been any women. There would have been literature. But no. So, I thought that I will pose this question because literature, as one fellow from Italy put it in one word, he said the history of mankind is the history of ideas. And what are these ideas? These are in literature, science, humanities, religion, spirituality, and the method to innovate further. These are all there. So I am talking about how we developed. I mentioned about the Vedic period, but these rigidities were challenged by two great men that India had, Mahavira and Buddha. That was a Protestant movement, according to me, against the Hindu order, rigid Hindu order. But in the meanwhile, things had solidified, but Buddha was a rational thought. When Buddha said, monks and scholars don't respect even my words, test it, and you test gold into fire. First person who said didn't say that don't trust the scriptures, didn't say it, told it in so many words, and said something very fascinating towards the end of his life, Appa Devo Bhavo, be a lamp unto yourself. And there was no distinction either in Jainism or subsequently in Buddhism. Initially there was some hesitation between men and women, high caste, low caste. And the religion came to be in the local dialect, local language. But literature has so many parts: oral literature, written literature, books. But it has not only language, it is also in Boli. So Bhasa and Boli both constitute literature. Oral literature, which was talked about. And this Brahmanism, and this Buddhism and Jainism, it traveled abroad. And India's contribution is that the whole of Southeast Asia got this Asian literature, including dress codes. In fact, textile played a big role in transmission of this. And there was one writer, British writer, who, when he surveyed the whole area of Asia, he made a very fine observation. He said, when I look at the world, he said, 21st century or 20th century, I find empire of the sword. He said India is the only country whose influence is the empire of the spirit. So this was the strength of Asian literature, I mean South Asian literature you can call it, or Indian, whatever you want to call it. It is empire of the spirit that India went. And Ashoka tried to institutionalize it with Dhamma officers. And that was there. Then came Islam, and the interaction between Hindu, Buddhist order and Islam. Then came the British. You know how the British did? I was trying to study and I must give you my interpretation. And the freedom struggle. The first industrial revolution, for roughly about 5,000 years, we had agriculture. And that had some iron and agricultural implements and cattle. And it gave us all this. 250 years ago, when the first industrial revolution came, it brought in place of wood and iron, the steel and the steam. Things changed. And Britain was the center. And they thought, they were very proud of their civilization, which Gandhi thought, yes, it will be a good idea to have Western civilization. And I will mention about him.